Hello everybody, my name is Nick Barnard and I'm co-founder with my wife Camilla of Root Health. And we began our food journey 13 years ago in our home in Wandsworth, so we're very much local to Abel and Cole. And our principles that we were inspired by in those early days remain with us today. And that's all about quality and provenance and nourishness. We make food that you yearn for in the right way, not because it's jammed full of mouth-pleasing substances that are in fact addictive for the wrong reasons, but we make food that actually sustains you whilst tasting great. That's the principle of being up for life, which is what the expression root health means. To be in root health is an Old English expression meaning to be up for life. Your cup is half full, not half empty. This is the first food. 13 years ago we mixed this in our kitchen and we were completely and utterly naive. We made a muesli with 26 ingredients, I think it had, whereas most mueslis, even to this day, have anywhere between 7 and 11 ingredients. And that was all about flavors and the balance between nourishness and nourishment. Now 13 years ago seems but a moment past. And we very quickly realized that out of our original aspiration to make great food that we would serve to our children, to ourselves, that we began to understand that there's always backstory to all foods. And we became experts, or would-be experts, or indeed challenging to any supplier around the provenance of food. We therefore took our journey to its logical extent, which is to grow our range of foods to suit really each of our own needs for, as I say, the balance of pleasure and nourishment. We make the world's greatest muesli that you don't make yourself, and the same principle applies to all our foods and drinks. This is the best almond drink you don't make yourself. None of our foods are complex or contain substances or ingredients. I'm not even going to call it food in most cheap foods. All our foods contain ingredients that you can pronounce the names, you might well have in your own larder, and you could make all these foods yourself. We support ancestral foods that do good, do you good, and taste great. So in terms of our best-selling foods, we've got the world's best muesli. We make a granola that is not sweetened with inexpensive addictive sugars. This is sweetened only with date syrup and honey. And it took me, I think, 3 years to find a producer who could bake using our criteria around the flavors coming from goodness, not from base, craven, addictive substances, whether it's sugar or whether it's cheap fats or whether it's salt. More recently, in the last 5 years, we've developed a range of drinks, dairy alternative drinks as we call them, largely in response to seeing that, like all our foods, we respond when we see that there's a gap for great quality foods and drinks that we would have ourselves in our own family. So we developed a range of drinks that are now very much best-selling. And as I said before, these are drinks that you could make yourself, but we generally don't have time, and contain very simple ingredients. All our drinks contain fewer than 5 ingredients and use spring water from the Italian Alps. And then all of the, for instance, the almonds do not come from California. They come from places such as Italy, Sicily and Turkey, where they grow in conditions that's not impoverishing the soil and ruining the climate. So we make great tasting drinks with very simple ingredients, and these really reflect our ambition to have the best of the dairy alternatives to replace milk, or actually, as you'll find from the recipes that we post and that are posted on the Abel and Cole website, these are great for baking and for cooking. So they just give diversity in the kitchen of flavors and ingredients. And then I think I'd like to close on one of my favorite subjects, which is getting the best out of food. And our ancestors would use a lot of fermentation techniques, which is now all the rage, and we have responded, or indeed have been writing about fermentation and sprouting, which are ancestral practices, And we produce, we're the leading producers of sprouted oats and spelt flour and buckwheat flour in the country. And these are foods, ingredients that truly release the energy of the food. And I challenge you all, when you bake, if you make blinis, for instance, make buckwheat and spelt blinis, I challenge you, I defy you to match that peerless, extraordinary flavors you get out of sprouted foods. And again, look up the whole background to sprouted foods, but what you're doing is that you're releasing the energy from a seed into what is essentially a vegetable and making it bioavailable to us and releasing flavor. These sprouted oats are a taste sensation. You wouldn't know that oats could have so many layers of flavor. And those principles of joy in food and nourishment in food are what it means to be in root health.